What mythical creature floats through the sea and is a horse? Miniature one, but still a horse. Let's find out. That's what we're going to be painting today. Come join me. Hi guys, and welcome to Letitia Houston Art, where I'm spreading a little light to the world through the canvas. And yep, you guessed it, we are going to be painting a seahorse, but it's going to have a little bit of a twist. What we're going to do is we're going to sketch it, we're going to draw it, and we're going to illustrate it first, and then we're going to paint it with watercolor. So you can either follow along with me or you can draw and paint with me. I'm going to have some parts of it real time, and then I'm going to have other parts of it in a speed lapse. So just slow it down if you need to, or go back and watch parts if you want to pick up a tip or two that you might have missed because it's on speed. So also I wanted to let you know that I've got my little book of magic, which is my new ebook on Amazon Kindle, and the book is a collection of inspirational quotes together with my hand-drawn illustrations. It's just a little something to brighten your day, and it's all based around fantasy, magic and the universe. So if you like those themes, be sure to check out the book. It's no more than a cup of coffee, and you've got some beautiful images and motivation to keep you flowing along on your journey in life. So I hope you like it. Let me know if you check it out. Leave me a comment below if you do. Love to hear what you think. Meanwhile, let's get into the video and let's start painting. Let's do it. So I love seahorses. I think they're so cute. Really exquisite little creatures of the sea. So we just want to emphasize the little snout and give it a little bit of gap there. So this seahorse, I thought, could be holding a pearl, just as an extra little fun thing. So I'm going to include a reference below as well for your own seahorse, so you can follow along. Got a sneeze. That was a sneeze, not a cough. So we're just sketching it out. Might actually leave the negative spaces so you can see how to achieve that with watercolor without me illustrating it. Starting to form now. A few little horns. Seahorse has got some hair, making it a little mythical. I don't know that seahorses really have hair. I'm adding it to mine. Got our eye, gonna give it some eyelashes. Little flick here. Let's outline the eye. We're gonna come in there with watercolor, so we'll leave that open. Backbone. It's one little strides that they have. Sound effects. Of course. There we go. So just want to add a few little features on our seahorse. Here, to indicate the bottom. There we go. Okay, we're pretty much ready to go. So this little seahorse is holding a pearl. Okay, so I'm going to do this first little part in real time. I thought I'd tell you what materials we're going to start off with. So our little seahorse is ready to go, ready to rock to the sea. So we're going to use the round brush. This is a number 6, which is a good size. So it's not too big, not too small, just right. It's 6 in size. It's good for broad strokes, broad expressive strokes, but it's also got a tip on it that can help you get in the little nitty-gritty spaces. So that's our brush for today. We've got a flat brush, which is quite small, and you'll see that it's quite stiff, which is excellent for when we add in the scaly back of the seahorse and we need to lift the colour off so that it indicates what we call a negative space in watercolour. So it's good for that. Fabulous. Because if you use a soft brush to pull back and make negative spaces, it can be really hard to work with. So you just kind of need a stiff flat brush to do that. Tip 101, watercolour. We're going to use a little small brush, detailed brush as well, just so that we can get in the little spaces to get colour in. So we're using this one here. And we've got the glass plate that I use. I use glass because it's more convenient. You can easily wipe your watercolours off, clean, hey presto, and it's done. If you use your little containers, they work well too. The only thing is you have to really be careful about getting all the paint out of the corners, because if you put a new colour in here and you've already got paint in the corners, then you can mix the colours and make them murky and come out with a colour that you don't want. So we don't want that. So nope, not for me. I'm using glass. So today we're going to use Mikado paints. Mikado paints is a really great brand because they have a really vibrant, rich colour palette which is Micador watercolor paints for artists. So I'm going to be using this beautiful rich blue, which you'll see come out. The colors are really dark, so you can't see anything. They kind of all look the same until you start working with them, but they're really rich and deeply pigmented, and I really love them. No, this is not an affiliate. I just really love these paints and tell everybody about them. So we're going to probably have like an emerald green. We'll get in there and use some of that, and we'll have a nice rich blue because we're taking it to the sea. Also, I have two Monty Mart pens. They're watercolor, and all you got to do is add water, and they're like a fine tip marker. So we might just add those in for some little details at the end. Eraser, but I don't really need that. Done what we need to do. Water, of course. Tissues, check. Candles for ambiance. And we're ready to rumble. Let's do this. Okay guys, let's start. So I'm using the round brush. It's the number 6 in size, and all I'm doing is applying clean water to our Seahorse, just enough so that the paper glistens. This paper is not 300 gram SM like you would normally see. It's actually a little bit lighter than that. It's the 250 gram SM. And I haven't stretched it or anything like that. Just when you have a lighter watercolor paper, you can work with it. You just have to work to control your water a lot more and not flood the page with water, because it can't hold water being spread on the paper like 300 gram SM can. So I'm applying water first because I want to use a wet on wet technique, because a wet on wet technique gives a nice flowy, watery effect, which is what we want the Seahorse to be like. If we wanted it to be more detailed and wanted it to be more vibrant in colour, you would use less water, more paint, and maybe do a wet on dry technique. But I'm just going to start with wet on wet. And then I'm just dropping the paint in. You'll see me probably creating sort of a dark edge around the Seahorse, just helping create a 3D effect, and just bleeding it slowly together. And then I'm going to weave in the blues as we go along. So, interesting fact about a Seahorse. So seahorses are normally seen as a lucky charm. They're very lucky animals. The myth is that ancient Europeans used to say that the Seahorse carried the souls of the deceased sailors to the underworld, giving them safe passage and protection until they met their soul's destination. What do you think about that? So that's pretty cool. So I use a lot of animal totems and symbolism in my artwork because that's what I love to do and I have an interest in it. The Seahorse is an interesting symbolism to it. It lets us know that even if we're small, we're still mighty and we're important pieces of the puzzle in the sea of life. And the Seahorse is a marker of being persistent in your goals, and it's also remembering, though, to go with the flow of things. And that persistence comes in the form of the Seahorse's hard shell. So it's quite sturdy. It's also a patient creature because it has to be able to navigate if the sea becomes rough. It needs to be able to flow, and then when it needs to anchor, it can use its tail to wrap around seaweed or whatever it can anchor onto. So that's a little bit about the Seahorse. So you see, as I'm getting closer to the bottom, that I switched the brushes because we're getting into an area that's even smaller, so I now need to switch up because that round brush won't work. It's too big. So the seahorse is taking shape, and we're just going to keep moving along, adding colours in. So we've got a variety of techniques. So I am using some wet on dry, which is just me having a pool of colour and applying it directly to the seahorse, which is different to wet on wet, where you actually wet the page first and then you drop your colour in. So far so good. I didn't end up using the fine tip markers for the seahorse. I didn't feel like I needed to use them. So in this video you'll see me use the two main brushes, which is the round and the small brush. I didn't use the flat brush either because the negative spaces kind of just sorted themselves out and I didn't really need to fine tune it, I didn't think. So yeah, there's two main brushes in this. It's the round brush and the smaller brush. So now I'm adding in the blue. I'm just adding some depth to the seahorse now. So I'm going to keep moving along in this tutorial. I'm probably going to stop talking here and you guys can enjoy watching the video and watch by sight. But if you have any questions for me about certain techniques, how much water to put down, yada yada, just leave me a comment below. I'll look at them all and answer. So if you're getting stuck with anything, I'll be able to guide you along. So I'll also put a reference photo that you can use as well for a seahorse. May come back in and do a drawing tutorial on it, just to show you how to capture the basic shape of a seahorse as a beginner. Alright, that's enough from me, so I'm going to see you in the next video. Hit subscribe if you like this one, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Bye!
It's been a roller coaster, but you stayed, and now I'm taking over for the day. 'Cause I can be what you wanna be, and I can feel but you love for me. Take me to a place I'm calling for. Open up the doors I'm knocking on. I'm losing control. Be the one to lead my fantasy. Show you, baby, your hands all over me. No, I'll never let go. 'Cause now I'm falling for love. Now I'm falling for love. Now I'm falling for you. 'Cause now I'm falling for love. Now I'm falling for love. Now I'm falling for you. And I'm losing my mind for the days. 'Cause you and I will never fade. And I could be what you wanna be, and I can feel but you love for me. Take me to a place I'm calling for. Open up the doors I'm knocking on. No, I'm control. Be the one to lead my fantasy. Show you, crave your hands all over me. No, I'll never let go. 'Cause now I'm falling for love. I'm falling now. I'm falling for love. Cause now
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. Flutter, flutter. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up. Climbing and climbing, I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost my style. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stops down, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking and you're faking, girl.